Okay. Um, Greetings to everyone or whoever who's gonna be viewing this video. Um, I go by the name called Arehone Makungo. Welcome to this detailed walkthrough of my Java Quick Chat application. Now, in this video, I'm gonna explain the program section by section, almost line by line and method by method. And then this project, or I might say this code, it's actually a simple messaging application where users are able to, I might say, send messages, validate phone numbers, generate message IDs and hashes, store messages in a file, display, send messages. And this is actually part 2 of my project. The first part I was creating a login system. Now, this program was actually, our code was actually built using classes, objects, methods, constructors, list, file handling, validation logic, and also user input with scanner. Now, I'm gonna first talk about the quick chat app, which is my part 2. Now, I'm gonna talk about the package message. Now, this line places the code inside a package called message. And packages actually it helps to organize Java classes into folders and prevent the naming conflicts, or maybe just to prevent confusion with naming your folders. Now we're gonna come to the imports. These inputs. Now these imports allow the program to use built-in Java classes. Now the first one is array list. The array list it is used to store multiple messages dynamically, and the Java util list it provides a general list interface, and the Java util scanner it actually allows the user to type input from a keyboard, and the Java util random it generates random message IDs. Now the file writer, the import of Java IO file writer, it is used to save messages into a text file. And the IOE exception, it is it handles files related to errors. And lastly, these two, I mean, sorry, these two, these are used for file path handling, although they are not used in this version of the program. We move forward to the class message. Now the class message, this class represents a single message. Every message object contains a message ID, recipient number, message text, and message hash. Now we move into the private strings and private static. No. Let's start with the strings. Now these are variables unique to each message object. Like we talk about the string message ID. It stores the random generated ID. For example, I might say 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 2, 9 to 1. Just a random ID that comes through. And now this one, the second one, it stores the position of the message where the message has to be stored. Now the recipient, it stores the phone number of the phone number you're sending your message to. And the message text, so private string message text, stores the actual message typed in by the user. Like the message you are typing in and sending. That's actually the message the private string stores. The private string message text stores. Now the private string message hash stores a generated hash used for identification. That's all about our private strings. Now we come to the private static int and list and random. Now these are static variables. Static variables belong to the class itself, not individual. They are not individual objects. This means that all message objects share these variables, like these three variables are shared. Okay, and then now I'm gonna explain the line the private static int total message sent. It is used to count all messages sent, and this one it is used um it used to store every sent message in an array list. You get, and then now the last one, it is used for generating random IDs. That's all about that. And then we move to the private constructor, which is private public message. Now this constructor creates a new message object. It actually creates a new message object. Now let me talk about these three. This keyword refers to the current object. This keyword, it actually refers to the keyword to the current object. Now these lines, they initialize the object variables. And now here it's the generate message ID message. Here we are creating a message ID, and then I want to talk about this first. Now here it calls a method to generate a random message ID, and then this one it creates the message hash. It creates the message hash. Let's continue with our code. I'll come and talk about the generating random 10-digit message ID. Now the private string generates message ID. This method creates a random 10-digit number, like let's say 2, 3, 4, 6, 2, 1, 5, 3, 6. It has to be just a random 10-digit number. Now this line is actually it's a random the random next double, this one, it generates a random decimal. It generates a random decimal, and it's multiplied. It is multiplied to create a larger number, added to 1 billion to guarantee 10 digits, because 1 billion is actually 10 digits. Now here, this is a string which converts the number into a text. The return string .value of ID, it converts the number into a text. Now we come to method 1, where we check if the message ID is not more than 10 characters, which is this one. Now we have a boolean here, and boolean actually checks whether the ID is 10 characters or less. And this one here is a validation logic. It returns true if valid, false if invalid. Let's proceed to method 2. Method 2, check our recipient's cell phone numbers. It allows the phone numbers to start with the South African code, which is +27, or you start with 0 while you enter your numbers. Now, I must start with the public string check recipient cell, which it ensures that the recipient number is valid. This string here, actually, it ensures that the recipient number is valid, or the number of someone you're sending the message to is valid. Now we come to number 2, which if the number exceeds 10 characters, an error message is returned, because you shouldn't you shouldn't type down numbers which are more than 10, and then if you do so, an error message is returned, because it's strictly prohibited that you should enter 10-digit number, which is cell phone number. And we proceed to here. If recipients start with plus, recipients start with 0, yeah, this line here, line number 50, it's in simple meaning, it's actually it actually means that the number must start with plus or start with 0. Do you get what I'm saying? Your numbers might actually start with plus or 0. But then you shouldn't forget about +27, because that's the South African code, +27. Now, if your number doesn't do that, there will be a return which says that error, recipient number must start with an international code or 0 for local numbers. If you do the wrong thing, and then if you do the right way, you get a return of valid, which means that all you did was all correct. Now let's proceed to now we are creating the message hash. Now this public string, it creates a unique message, a unique message hash, and then I would like to talk about this one, the first string, in which this string essentially breaks the message into separate words. Like, for example, hi, there's a space, how are you, how, space, are, space, you, that's what I mean. And these ones, it actually the same thing as is, like, it's actually something that supports what I just said here. Okay. And then now we proceed to line number 63. If first word is dot is empty, that line usually means that that line prevents crashes if the user enters nothing. That's when we prevent crashes if the user enters nothing. And then we come to the message hash, string hash. I might say this one. I might say this one. This one gets the first 2 digits of the ID. It gets the first 2 digits of an ID. And now we move to The private public string send message. This displays options to the user. Now, these are the options that the user will get. The first options, the user will be asked to send a message. The second option, it's just to ask the user if the user want to store the message, and where the message is stored is in the JSON file. And now, option number 3 is to disregard the message. So you'll be asked to choose from option number 1, option number 2, option number 3, which are these. Now, let's move. We come to line number 82. Now here, this line actually executes different code based on user selection. That's what line number, and then we come to case number 1, which is this. Case number 1, actually, I'm gonna explain line by line. Now these 2 lines, they increase total count, and actually they save messages to list. And now I come to line number 86, which it shows all message information. And I come to line number 87, and which line number 87, it saves message into a text file, which that file, like I said, it's a JSON file. And then we proceed. If you followed all instructions, you will return a message. You will return an output which says message sent successful, which is the system. And again, you get a message called JSON message stored in JSON file. Or now, if you disregarded your message, the output will be message disregarded. And now, if you actually chose the invalid option, you will return invalid option message and proceed. Now let's move on to when we display message details. I will start with this order from line 100 to line 106. Now, this public void display message detail, it prints the message ID, it prints the hash, it prints the recipient, it prints the message text to the console. Nah? And then now we move on to when we are storing message in a file. And these public void store message, it uses file writer to save messages. And line number 111, it automatically closes the file after writing. And this is what what gets stored. It says this is what gets stored, which is the message ID, the message hash, the recipient message, and timestamp. Do you understand what I mean? The timestamp. The timestamp. And let's proceed with our code. If you actually followed the right format, you get an output saying message stored in a message text. And if you don't do as you act, or you do something wrong, you get an output called error storing message. Now we proceed to when we are printing all the messages. Now line number 126, this line actually displays all sent messages. And if you don't display all sent messages, and if you didn't type anything down, it will say no messages. Or maybe you just proceed without typing a message, it will actually say that no messages have been sent yet. Or I might say that if you haven't sent any message to the recipient, you will get an output saying that no messages have been sent yet. And now we go to line number 131, which is this line, which actually it efficiently builds large strings. It efficiently builds large strings. Now we come to this line number 133. This one. This one is a loop through messages. It prints every message stored in the list. Like every message stored in the list, it is printed. And now we proceed to the part to the next part where we return the total number of messages sent, and the public static int returns total messages. It returns the number of messages sent, exactly like what I said. And we continue to line 149, which this line actually returns the message. And let me put it in this way. From line 149 to line 152, line 149 actually returns message ID. Line 50 actually returns the message hash. Line 151 returns the seal of the recipient. And line number 152, it actually returns the message text. And now we come to the public class of Quick Chat App. Quick Chat App. Now, this is the main class that runs the application. Our application is actually sort of like a WhatsApp nyana where you text a message. Firstly, you have to, when you're creating a WhatsApp, you should be able to put in details, phone numbers of the person you want to send to. Now here is where we start with creating the app. I might say. So we come to these ones. The private static boolean, static scanner, static int, static int again. Now, the purpose of these things, if you have logged in, it will track login status. The scanner will actually read the user input, and then the max message, it stores maximum messages user wants to send, and the message text sent tracks the messages created during the session. Now let's proceed. We come to line number 162, where we got the public static void, which is this one. The public static void. Now this is the program execution, where the program execution starts. Ne? And then while the program starts, or I might say the application starts, you will receive you get a message which says the output, I might say, which says that welcome to QuickChat, which is the name of the application. Now we move into line number 166. If you log in, now this, it actually calls the login method. If now your login fails, you will receive an output saying that login failed, exiting application. That's what you get in return, or what you receive. And then if you and if you actually and if your application, I might say, the login process go nicely, now you move to the step where you have to get the number of messages the user wants to enter. Now you receive an output saying that how many messages do you wish to enter. And that's all I can say about this. You'll be asked how many users do you want to enter. Let's move. Lastly, I might say that where can I proceed? Oh, I'm gonna come here where I don't know. Now if you actually the process goes nicely, the the boolean running it's true while it is running, and message sent makes messages display menu interest go to scanner next line. Now there's a first case, like first choice, or I might say where when you send the message, the system will actually send the message, and then if the boolean is false, it will display goodbye, and then if default or if you entered the wrong thing, it will say invalid option, please try again. And now let's move on. We moving on to when if we move on to if the if message is sent, and you actually not allowed to send more text. Like if you actually exceed the number of messages you're supposed to send, it will actually display a message saying that you have reached the maximum number of messages. Like agree, you were given the you choose yourself how many messages do you want to send, and if you exceed that, it will give you a feedback saying that you have reached the maximum number of messages. And now if you didn't, or you actually did according to what the message you wanted to send, it will give you feedback saying and output saying that total messages sent. And now this is the same thing as this one. um um let's proceed. Let's proceed. Now this is a private static boolean where now you are actually logging, you are in a login process where it will ask you to log in. For you to continue, you have to enter your username, you will have to enter your password. And now we come to the updated authentication where we accept your credits, your credentials, I might say. And then now if user equals my name, which is rs slash, and password equals to the password you see here, which is this one. This line is actually checking the credit house, like are they matching with the things that you are using while you log in into the app, or I might take the quick check application. And now here, line 219, it's used to check if the user is logged in, and if you are, it will give you a feedback saying that login successful. And if you enter the wrong details in username or password, you get an output saying that invalid credentials, which means that your credentials are not matching with the ones you entered. I might say that the ones that are here are not matching with the ones that you entered there. Now we come to the private static void display menu. Sorry, private static void display menu. Now here, this line actually displays the main menu options. When you enter the quick check menu, that's actually the output you're gonna get. And now you'll be given three options. Option number one, which is send messages. Number two, show recently messages. Number three, quit. Now those are your options, and you'll be asked here to choose one of these options, of these three options. Okay, and now let's proceed to line number 236, which is the private static void send message. Now, it handles the full message creation process on on these, on this Creature app. Now, when you log in, they will ask you to please log in first to send message. You cannot send message without logging in to the application. Like I said, I don't know what can I make an example of. Um, I might say WhatsApp actually again, because you have to open an account first while you are in your user on WhatsApp, and you actually enter your number and yeah, your details. I might say. Now, this line actually I forgot to explain. This line, it ensures only logged in users can send messages. You only allowed to send messages if you're logged in, like I said. And we proceed, we proceed, we proceed, we proceed, we proceed, we proceed. Um, we are proceeding. Now you'll be asked. Now, after you are logged in, you will be asked to send a new message. Besides that, now we want to get the recipient with clear instruction. You get an output saying that the recipient format options, and you have to enter the numbers, which are international code, which is +27 for the Africa, and the maximum 10 characters, or the local one, which starts with 0, and the maximum, I might say a maximum, what can I say? Length of 10 digits after the 0 or +27. Now here, you will be asked to enter the recipient's cell phone number, and now you will have to follow these rules, which say that your number should start with +27 or should start with 0. Now, if you don't follow the instruction, you actually get an output saying that error recipient number exceeds 10 characters. Now, then that's where we validate the length. If your length is more than 10, or I might say you entered 11 numbers, you entered 12, and so on, so on, so on, you get an output saying that error recipient number exceeds 10 characters. And we come to when we get the message, you get an output to ask you to enter your message. Now it's when you type in your message, the one you want to type in. And now we want to check the message length here. We check in the message length. This is the limit message size. This one here. This is the limit message size. You are not allowed to send messages more than 250. Like they'll ask you to please enter a message of less than 250 characters. Now we create the message object. We are creating the message object. Now this line actually, it creates a new message instance. And now we check the message ID. I might say validate message ID. And now here we also validate the recipient. If you entered correct information, I will give you a feedback saying that it is valid. And recipient validation. And if you actually you're done with everything, you entered the correct things, it'll actually give you an output saying that message is validated. And here, lastly, I might say, This displays the send, store, disregard message. And that's all I can say about this code. I thank you.